All right, guys, Bowtech update. So in the first video of this bow, I basically just showed you how to set the cams on it and my quick first impressions, which were pretty good. Well, the more I messed with it, the more I liked it, because I'd actually accidentally bought the bow on eBay and was considering turning it over. Matter of fact, it's still listed for sale, but I need to take that down because it's going to be my 3D bow. So I shoot ASA pins 45, which you can see the shorter hunter bars, and decided to go ahead and get it set up for that. And really all I did was, Paige Pearce has her lists out. She just started throwing her videos out again, kind of going over some stuff she's done previously, but how to make a bow aim better and her tuning process, which is similar to a lot of things I've done in the past and a lot of people I know, but she's obviously knows what she's talking about and has added some things that I never would have considered. So first thing I did with this bow was raise my nocking point for two reasons. One, and actually I had a gentleman ask about this on the first video, at Left-Handed Archer, asked about the grip and the shelf size. So I shoot a real low wrist grip, pretty deep into my hand, and I don't like this grip out. So my finger, my index finger, is at risk of coming over the shelf. And I was getting some fletching contact on my hand, but that was with the arrow running through the middle of the burger buttonhole. I was playing around with getting this bow to hold, and I raised my nocking point to where the arrow would cut the top of the burger, and it felt like the bow held much better for me. And it also, as a positive side effect, made it clear my finger. So this is the first thing I did. That issue was solved in that manner. At Left-Handed Archer, that hopefully answers your question. The shelf is not huge. It doesn't really keep that finger from sliding up. If you've got decent sized hands, that might cause you an issue, but I found this particular bow kind of likes to shoot a little higher in the burger hole anyway. So that was the first thing to get it to hold. Next thing I did to get it to hold was I changed the timing slightly, and I went from the soft-sided portion of the stops to the big flat-sided portion of the stops. And I've got them hitting with the top just barely, and I mean maybe a 32nd of an inch in front of the bottom with these flat stops, and then I can pull real hard into it. And that thing gives it I think that top hitting just a little first gives it a little sponge before the bottom touches, but it just really holds nice that way for me. And again, this is all super individual stuff, but that was what I did. I timed it up with the time lock. Feels solid there. Well, I'll just go ahead and touch on this part of the tuning. I didn't know how that would work with a creep tune, if that would cause me issues with those big solid stops not hitting dead on time. But I went out to 40 yards and shot a super strong, a super soft, and a regular shot. Had no issues there. That they actually all were hitting the line. So creep tuning with the timing just a 30-second off is perfect for me. To get it to hold after the timing, timing and nocking point really did most of the work for me. But then I did play with the bars a little bit. I kept the back bar quite a bit heavier than the front. I tried them swapped. I tried all the different angles. Had this thing jacked straight up basically for a while, way down low, lower mount versus up here on the front. And this is just where I settled in on that. Again, a super individual thing, but this thing just seems to want to sit on the spot as it is right now with a real strong shot. So from there, once it would hold, I tuned it more than I usually tune it. Generally, I'll get it to tear paper, and if it's grouping, right? But this thing, I wanted to really do my work and have some patience and try to get it to shoot. So I did the modified French tuning. I'll show you. You guys have probably seen this. The Nuts and Bolts of Archery. This is a guy on Archery Talk who put this book together. Well, I printed it out, put it in a binder, and one of the things he talks about is modified French tuning. And so I went through that process. You can look that up if you want to, but basically it involves shooting really close range at a string. When you hit the string, going back to distance, shooting at it again, and then using your rest to sight it in. And after several steps of that, you can get your rest and your pins in direct alignment. So I did do that. However, I will say once I did that, I didn't feel like my groups were necessarily as good at distance. So I went out to 40 yards and shot, and this is where I went back to Paige Pearce's stuff, I put just a little bit of a left into my rest, and I'd shoot a group. A little bit back to go back to center, and then a little bit right and shoot a group. And I played with that for a while, and I found just a slight deviation in my rest. It actually ended up going left just a little bit, that my groups just all of a sudden became some of the best I've had. Just a patience game and a lot of arrows, but I found that just playing with that, she calls it group tuning, that was something I really enjoyed. That seemed to work quite well. So group tuned it, creep tuned it. Let's see, what else have I done tuning wise? I guess that's it. There's not much else to it other than I just made sure, of course, that every pin, I'll show you my pins for this ASA class. 20, 30, 40, 45, and 50 is what I shoot for pins 45. And that's because I found, you can see that decent sized gap between my 30 and 40. I'm okay with that gap, but the gap between 40 and 50 causes me some issues when I'm guessing a lot, and I get left and rights too. So I went ahead and threw that 45-yard pin in there. And I will say, if you shoot pins 45 or you're considering that class, you'll shoot 38 to 44 yards most of the time. So I recommend having that 45-yarder. But yeah, so she's set up. Don't have much more to say. I'm excited to see how it does. I've got a local 3D coming up this weekend, so I'll give you guys, a little update on how it went with this bow. And I also might even just shoot another 300 round test with it soon and let you know if my score goes up. Because when I pulled it out of the box, threw the stuff on it and shot, I think I shot a 296. And I'd be interested to know, after going through all this tuning process and getting familiar with the bow, if that score goes up. And I think I'm a 296 shooter, honestly. But if I can get a point, maybe two, then I would say that the hard work towards getting that thing lined out was worth it. Also worth noting, I found that all of my Hoyt draw stops fit this bow and slightly softened the wall, slightly extended the draw length, and slightly increased the let off. In case you guys wanted to play with a different feel, you could try that as well. Good morning. The sun is out, and we're going to take that Bowtech today for its first 3D shoot. Pretty interested to see how it does. Shooting at the house, I feel like I'm shooting that bow as well as I've shot any bow, but things change with a little bit of pressure. Now, this is not a high stakes tournament or anything like that, but me and a buddy are headed to a local 3D shoot called Menard Archers in Petersburg, and it's going to be a good time, and it's going to test some of the when you got a little more pressure to perform, what happens then. And that can be the final step of tuning. And I know I grip the bow a little harder, a little different, or something like that. For me personally, what I fight with a lot of pressure is I get a little weak in my shot, because I will start aiming a little more than I should. Now, I've been working on that personally, as far as just almost shooting too strong now under pressure, because I want to make sure that I'm just actually more aggressive with pressure and use that energy for something rather than just letting it go into the shakes when I get light in my shot. So we'll see. I'm probably going to do that, to take any extra energy that I have into focusing on making a super strong, nearly aggressive shot. And that's, when performed correctly, has given me some of my best scores. We'll see how this bow does with that, but it's going to be a good day. The rain finally blew out of here. The sun came out this morning. Good day for 3D. Where's that been all day?
Target 28. Okay, that'll do. The rest of the day has been absolute trash. Now turning in the scorecard and just going straight to the truck.
Yep. But that felt nice.
Wow. Fuck! Totally had that too. I'm not talking. 267.
Mine was a 296.
20. Dick.
I know. All right, guys, so we just got back from Petersburg, Menard Archers, and as we alluded to, not our best shooting ever. Really tough course, really fun course, but man, did it point out some flaws. And so what I've decided to do since I came home, which is, why we wanted to go to this course, was to figure out a couple little finishing factors before we take this further into 3D season. One of the things that bothered me the most was that I had too small of an aperture in the peep. So I actually pulled that halfway through the course and got a lot more comfortable. It was really more of a mental game. I couldn't see as well as I wanted to, and that was causing me to break down in other parts of my shot. Finally caught some steam towards the end. So I'm gonna put a little bigger aperture in there. I just put a twist in the string to get that rotated properly because it was kind of slanted out. And I'm going to, for the first time, try some of this Wilson grip tape because I think some of my left and right issues are coming from improper grip. And so I'm gonna wrap this on there. That way my thumb isn't kind of sliding off of the grip, which I feel it is. But also I might even draw a little line where my thumb pad sits, just as a little visual reminder of this is how you grip the bow. And we'll see, all these little things hopefully are gonna help some scores, but at the end of the day, we had fun. We just got our butts whooped, which is, archery is all about taking those L's because I've lost a lot more than I've won, and I think it's going to continue to happen. So I'm just going to have to get comfortable with it and comfortable with trying to get better. Luke shot good again today, just little hiccup mental errors. It's just part of the game, baby. We're going to figure it out. We're going to get better. You're always trying to get better. It's like golf. It's like any discipline that's 99% mental. You're never going to master it. You're just going to get better. All right, so things are different. We got a grip set up here now. I'm trying to get more consistent with that, fix these left and rights. I've got the peep aperture changed, twisting the string to straighten that out. And that is it. I've made the mental adjustments I think I need. I'm gonna shoot 3 arrows and shoot 3 10s, hopefully. If that's the case, I'll be happy. All right, 2 X's and a 10. Now this is a dumb game that I like to play, but let's run it back. 3 more arrows. All right, boys, we ended with 3 X's. So 6 arrows in a row, 60 points. I think 5 of them were X's. It's all here, let's remember that. But good news is the Bowtech is coming along nicely. That grip, I think, is gonna help me out a lot. I really believe I was getting left and rights with that and then chasing myself around and worrying about other stuff. And if you guys shoot archery, which I assume you do, you're watching this video, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So that'll end this video. I'm gonna go ahead and get myself ready for Fort Benning probably, and I'll let you guys know how that goes. If while I'm practicing during the week that I decide to shoot a 300 round, I'll show you that as well. Otherwise, I'll check in later on. Thanks, guys.